you need to be licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Okay.
So the licensed advisors are the ones that, once the business development manager has set up a meeting, the licensed advisor is the one that gives the advice, structures a product for the client.
So you tailor-make
Exactly.
your products.
Yes, so everything that we do is tailor-made.
Okay.
We look at your risk appetite, we do a thorough financial analysis to be able to offer something that is specific for you.
Okay, so let's leave it there because they're not paying me to advertise. Okay.
No
Let's
problem.
go to Maureen because Maureen is the reason we're here. But the very is good because the very has given Maureen a platform to become.
Exactly.
And when Maureen started, you were the only woman. I saw a picture of you in a yellow top, and
Yes.
all the others were suited up with their men in black outfits, and you were the only woman amongst them. Tell us about that picture, and how was it when you started at the very, were there many women, even in the industry, were there many women when you started?
Right. So in this industry, it's mainly male dominated, simply because it's not an easy industry. It's not easy, it's challenging. So when I joined, I'm clocking 9 years now.
Okay.
When I joined as an associate board consultant, I was actually the only female financial advisor. We had a few women in the lower positions, so the business development managers, the ones that would, just pick up the phone, call a prospect, book a meeting, but not the ones that are actually giving financial advice.
Okay.
So I was the only female financial advisor at that time. And for me, that was a challenge to me.
Yes.
And I asked why. It was because it's not an easy industry. Because as a woman, there's a lot of things that happen. You go on Mother's Day, there's a funeral, you take a break from work. So you can't succeed in this industry if you have that kind of mindset.
So as a woman, the challenges we face are more than men.
Absolutely.
As a woman, therefore, you work harder, you work smarter
Exactly.
to be the director of an operation.
Exactly. That is absolutely. I have to work at least maybe 50 times more than my male counterparts. Exactly.
Okay.
So as a woman, you need to work harder. I don't take Mother's Day unless if I really need it.
Okay.
I don't go on sick leave.
And you play golf.
I network, exactly. I've had to learn to be able to position myself for success in this industry.
So tell us, where did Maureen start from? Who's Maureen? Where did she come from? Did she come from privileged backgrounds? How come she's playing golf and networking and defying the status quo where they say it's a man's world and Maureen says, no, I'm a player here. And I hold my own. Where did you start from? Where did your leadership start from? Where did your background come from?
Well, I'm not privileged at all. When I don't know how well you know Zambia. When you hear, that's amazing. So when you hear my name, it's actually a very powerful name. So people think I was born with a silver spoon because my grandfather was a former speaker, the longest serving speaker of the National Assembly.
Wow.
So if you just see me suited today, you would actually think I just got this job by a mere mention of my grandfather's name. But that wasn't the case. I was born from a poor woman who didn't have her own money, from a little village in Chongwe. They didn't get married with my father, and as a result, because my grandfather was a powerful man, and a traditional man as well. His wife, my grandmother, lived in the village while he was here in town, serving the country. And they would only get my grandmother, they would send a driver to get her if there's need for her to be present at any meeting. So when I was born, I was taken away from my mother at 9 months, still being breastfed. Because my mother was in the village, couldn't look after me, and taken to another village where my grandmother was in Namwala. So I grew up there in the village. My grandmother died when I must have been 9 or 10 years old. And when she died, there was nobody to protect me at that time. And I was sexually abused by my uncles, the people that I was looking up to. And after my grandmother died, I think it was like a year later, when I was taken to my uncle, my biological father died when I was very young. I actually didn't even know he was my biological father. I thought he was my uncle. And I only got to meet my biological mother after being separated from her at 9 months. I got to meet her at 18 years, 18 years later. So I was taken away from the village after the sexual abuse. I was taken to my uncle who brought me up. And from there I went to boarding school. I learned some values about the importance of waking up early, hard work. And because of my childhood, I've always just wanted better for myself. I've always told myself there has to be better. Life can't just be about you, being sexually abused. In fact, my sexual abuse, I'm only talking about it in my older years.
Yes, because it brings shame.
Exactly.
And it affects your identity. I'd like to tell us, maybe you should tell us, because most people are not courageous enough to talk about their vulnerability. Most of us cover up.
Right.
And it's the story of most women, because society is not kind to having authentic, to having, in fact, she doesn't even know certain things are abuse, because society says that's our culture. And when she is abused, society blames the woman and makes her, instead of making the one that has perpetrated the crime, it's a crime. They'd rather blame the woman that it's the way she dressed or it's the way she this or that. What did that do to you? First of all, you're taken from your mom, you don't know that. Nobody raises you like your biological parents, I think. You stay with your grandma until about 9, she passes. You don't know your dad. You're living with uncles. What does that do to a young girl? How was that for you? You are just talking about it now when you're older. But what did it do for you when you saw others? Did it affect your identity? Did it affect... How was that?
Yeah, I think it really does affect your identity, because growing up, I didn't have anybody to tell me, you can do it, you're beautiful. I didn't have anybody to talk to tell them about what I went through when I was in the village, because when I was in the village I was young, and I was told if I tell somebody I'm going to die. And as a child you believe that. So it affected, I had no confidence growing up. No confidence at all. And I was ashamed, I was even ashamed to talk about the fact that I grew up in the village, because I was taken into a home where my uncle, my auntie, and my 2 siblings were coming from the United Kingdom. So at some point I used to lie to everybody that I was also coming from the United Kingdom, because I felt I was ashamed, and it took myself, I actually can't attribute the change in my identity to anybody. It just took myself to, growing up thinking, this is not it, and most of the things I'm ashamed of, I meet people that have actually been there and done that, and they are succeeding. And I just decided to start reading. I think it started when I completed my grade 12, even at that point as well, because I was moved to my uncle's place, but my grandfather was still responsible for paying for my school fees. He died as well. And then I couldn't finish my college. So I've had so many challenges, but I never gave up. I got pregnant at a young age as well, because you're looking, there's a void. You're out there looking for something that you're getting.
Connection.
Exactly, from home. And I think when I had my son, at that point again I was rejected by the father of my son. So there's been so many rejections, but at that point I brought a human being into this world, and I didn't want him to go through what I went through. So I made a decision there to say, you know what, there has to be more to life than what I went through. And at that point I went all out. I didn't finish my grandfather died when I was in my first year in college, and my uncles told me there was no money, they couldn't take me to school. So I started living on my own when my son was a month plus, in a little 1-room cottage, and I could not even afford to buy.
You were still in college at that time?
I had dropped out of college.
You dropped out of college?
Yes, because I couldn't finish college.
Okay.
But when my grandfather was alive, we used to receive a little bit of, allowance here and there. So I had a bank account because when I was in college, you needed to pay. I was studying marketing, so you needed a bank account in order to pay for the exam. And at that time, whatever monies I was given went through the account, and I had no need for it. I was young. So then, when I was faced with a decision to live on my own with my son, I had a little bit of money that I might pay for one room for 6 months, and started looking for a job again. And sometimes I would not have food, And I did that because I brought shame to the family because I brought a child. And the man who's pregnant me is not married.
Can I investigate that?
Sure.
Because you just said something, I don't know, the way I look at things is probably different, and I like to question things. I think most of us don't question things. Should you be ashamed, as in I brought shame into the family, or should you say to yourself, I have, in spite of where I'm coming from, I haven't done too badly? Because when you say you brought shame to the company, who gave you a chance to become this person that you say, let me not bring shame to the company, to the family, not company now? Because you've gone through abuse, you've gone through this, you've gone through rejections, you've gone through... So at the end of the day, why do we carry this weight and noose about I've brought shame to the family? Basically, you're feeling ashamed. So I want you to help me just slice that thing called shame and rejection. Help us look into it. Looking back now,
right.
What did it do for you? You're having a baby, or you're carrying a burden. I've brought shame to the family. What does it do to a woman?
It breaks you. And I think it has a lot to do with, the people around you. Looking back, like you have said now, I can say that I didn't bring shame to my family because it happened. And I
couldn't do anything. That's the best you knew to do that.
Exactly.
You were looking for love, probably.
Exactly.
You wanted to belong. I don't know, I wasn't there, but
yeah.
I'm asking.
But going back, that is what I felt, because that is what I was meant to feel. Because there is an expectation of a girl child. There's an expectation for you to get married, for you to, get married to a comfortable person. So when you fall pregnant, people don't look at why did she fall pregnant? Why did she go out there? What did we not give her as the adults that are in her life?
So there's a lot of pressure on that girl's life.
Yes.
That she's bearing and nobody knows about.
Nobody knows.
She has to meet up expectations. And by the way, I don't think we're giving excuses for people to be irresponsible.
Of course.
But we're just looking into the life of somebody that has gone through it.
Exactly. I mean, at that point, nobody asked why. I'm just talking about my story now. My family didn't even know that until I spoke about it myself. So I think, of course, we're not saying it's okay to get pregnant. It's not okay to get pregnant at a young age, but sometimes it happens. But you don't know what's
happening. A lot of times it happens.
A lot of times it happens, but then as parents and guardians, we're quick to judge.
Yeah.
And at that point, the pressure was, when is he marrying? When is he marrying? And he wasn't coming. So as a result, I stayed for 2 years. I was lying to my family that this man is helping me with bills. He's paying just so that nobody can talk. While sometimes I'll go to bed hungry and no food.
So show us the life of that woman that has been, first of all, abused, but more importantly, on this side now, a woman that has been trusting a man, got pregnant. She wants to do better for her life, but she's now carrying that child, and she's pregnant, and she's responsible for her baby. What's a single mother's life like? Who still wants to make it in life? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What was it like for you?
It wasn't easy. It's hard. It's really hard because it takes courage for you to actually come out and tell people that I'm struggling, because there's a lot of judgment from friends, from family. So for the longest time, you just need to make a decision to say, I need to do better for my son, because he's not going anywhere. He's here. For me, I spent almost every day. I only had enough money for 6 months rent. And I prayed to God. It also takes prayer for me to be where I am. It's God. I prayed to God. I told God where I've come from. I come from the village. I don't want to go back. There's a reason why you took me from my mother to another village, to my uncle's house. And now I'm here and I've got a child. And without God, I don't think I would have been where I am. You know, I went all out. Of course, you have to pray, but you also have to act, because you can't just pray. Exactly. You can't just pray and expect a job to come. There are times when I wouldn't even have money to buy a newspaper, to look at job adverts, but because I created a relationship with a vendor who sells down the road, on days when I didn't have money, he would let me go through all the 3 newspapers, the Post newspapers, the Daily Mail, Times of Zambia. He would make me sit there and say, just, madam, take down, I'll go with a little notebook, then go back home, write application letters, go from office to office.
Have you finished school at that time?
I hadn't.
You hadn't?
I hadn't.
So you started from there?
Yes, I started from the bottom. I got a job, very, very low position. And because I had applied for so many jobs, eventually one of the companies called me like a year later while I was just a relief secretary.
Okay.
I got called for, that's where actually my career started. Like a year later, I got called for at the Post newspaper, which is now the Must.
Yes.
As a sales executive, the salary was a little bit better. And it was then that I took myself back to school.
Okay.
Because I got a job, a better salary, free lunch, there was a canteen. So things began to, move along. But then I realized that no matter how much you work, you also need to be qualified, because I didn't have qualifications. So people would come in, they're promoted. I've been there for years, but I'm not being promoted. So I decided to start saving and take myself back to university.
Okay.
So I used to go to school in the evening.
So you had a lot of financial discipline.
Yes.
You saved during school when your grandfather, and that gave you 6 months rent.
Exactly.
And kept you, and you learned to network.
Yes.
Even the newspaper person, leveraging on everything.
Yes.
And now you have a job, you're saving again to go back to school. Okay?
Yeah.
And where did you go back to school? What school did you choose to go?
So I went to Cavendish University. I did a degree in public relations. I did that, after work, after hours. I got my degree. After I got my degree, I wasn't promoted. I continued working.
This was still at the post?
This was still at the post.
Okay.
I continued working, and then I just felt I needed something different. From the Post newspaper, I worked for another oil marketing company for a few months. The company closed down. I didn't have a job again. I worked for British Airways. There was no salary. They just gave us a uniform and transport because you're more like interning. But I put myself out there to see if I can meet people, who can offer me a job. And after some time, because of that experience, then I got a call from Devia. Because of somebody who I met somewhere, I can't really remember.
You made an impression also.
Yes, so they were looking for financial advisors that had a strong sales and marketing background.
Okay.
So that's how I came, did the interview and got the job.
But did you have a financial advisory background?
Not at all.
So it was your sales
It was my sales and marketing that got me the job. But when I got here, I needed to do a number of qualifications for me to actually become a licensed financial advisor.
Okay.
So I had to do my Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments, stockbrokers. So I had to do some trainings in Cape Town, in South Africa. I did my last
So the organization afforded you that platform.
Yes.
But it was your hard work that brought you into the organization.
It was definitely.
So what got you there won't keep you there. You have to grow.
You have to grow.
You have to grow.
Exactly.
What you said to us also is, it may not be ideal for us. People look at you and say you must go to university to get a job. You are saying that education, learning should be based on where you are focused on.
Yes.
So that you didn't go back and say, I don't know, you've not got there yet, maybe. You didn't go back and say, I must get a degree. You started learning in line with what your career was. And that has helped you get to where you are.
Yes, that's true. I mean,
so that's like specialized learning.
Exactly. I mean, what I've learned, especially in this organization, when you're being employed, they don't look at what degree, what field your degree is in. So it just takes, some levels of confidence. I have a public relations background. I had a public relations degree, but because of the confidence that I was able to show, my sales skills, they thought I was trainable. They gave me an opportunity to work here. Of course, because you are now managing people's money, you need to be qualified.
Yeah.
So if you want to make this a career, then you need to be qualified, you need to get a license.
Yeah.
So then you need to go to school, specific in that field that you're in. Yeah.
So people can't say I'm disadvantaged, I didn't go to school.
No.
People should work and show who they are and be confident.
Of course.
And opportunity will meet preparation.
Definitely. I mean, I was able to work without my diploma, without my degree. But there's always a position somewhere in every company.
To start.
So I didn't say because I didn't finish school, I'm not going to look for a job. I looked for the lowest position. And so it's not an excuse not going to school.
So would you say to us, how was it for you going through school, Cavendish, you took yourself through, and what was it like you having a baby, taking care of yourself, and all the other students having parents lavishing on them? What did it do for you? And coming into work, and you had to go for what you could get, climbing up from, what was that for you? You seem to have faced a lot of mental challenges, a lot of psychological challenges. How did you overcome those voices telling you you're not good enough, people are better than you, you're not qualified, look at you, you're a single mother? Why did you feel sorry for yourself? Why did you stop on the way and listen to those voices? How did you overcome?
I had to change a lot. I had to change a lot of my friends. I had to make a decision. I started praying more. I started spending more time going to church and reading more. Reading a lot of books that are going to build me. And I had to cut down a lot of negative people. I just made a decision to say, this is not going to be my life, because I had a strong why I needed to survive, and that's my son.
So you have to have a why. There must be something in your heart that makes you wake up in the morning.
Exactly.
So you had something, your son.
I had my son, and then I had also my background, which I didn't want to go back.
You didn't want to go back to the village?
Yes, I didn't want to go back to the village. I didn't want to be in a position where I don't have food. So I had a why, so it didn't matter what people said about me, it didn't matter what people thought about me. I had a strong why, and that is what helped me to continue to work hard and making myself better and to be where I am. I'm not done, I'm still going.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm not done.
Yes.
Because there's obviously a lot ahead of you.
Exactly.
And maybe you will be the next leader having your own organization.
You never know.
Absolutely. So tell us, what has your career path been? You came into Devere, you're 9 years now, you say you're going on 9 years. How's those 9 years been? That you're now the director and you're an area manager. How did you achieve this, coming as the only woman financial analyst or financial advisor?
Yeah, it's taken a lot of hard work, patience, persistence. Because this industry, like I said in the beginning, is mainly male-dominated. You need to do a lot of networking, and you need a strong support system. Because if you don't have a strong support system, then you are going to fail.
Can you define support system? What do you mean support system?
So I'll give you an example. I was married and I got divorced simply because the support was not there. Because if you've gone through what I have gone through, you need a supportive partner.
Okay.
You need somebody that is going to support you.
So support system starts with who you choose as a partner.
Yes, who you choose as a partner, the people you choose as your friends.
Why don't women pay attention to who they choose as their partner? they seem to go very emotional or very materialistic if it is based on finance, because some people make choices based on finance. A lot of people make choices because they want love. And you are saying the partner you choose will inform your success in life. So why do women, in your opinion, because you said you didn't have it, why do you think you probably made a wrong decision that somebody else should not?
I think it has a lot to do with pressure from society. It's a lot of pressure. You're a single parent, so everybody else around you is getting married. And you also think, you don't really get to know this person. And I don't believe in people change. It's probably things that you...
Lots of women believe he'll change.
No.
He'll change.
I don't believe that. I don't believe people change.
Some people say God will change him.
No. God should change you. You should change, not the person. So it has a lot to do with pressure. Pressure. So you get into this relationship because you feel, or people make you feel you are not complete. I believe there is a soulmate for everybody. I still believe in marriage. I still believe in love.
So soulmate is coming.
Definitely.
Jesus' name.
Definitely it's coming. But at that point, I think it had a lot to do with the people that I had in my life. The environment, because people feel, if you are not married, then you are not fulfilled.
So women face pressure and shame because they're not married.
Yes.
And other women make them feel less because they're not married.
Because they're not married. Okay. So it takes maturity for you to get to a point where what am I going to put up with? I faced physical abuse in my marriage, and I wasn't going to put up with that. A lot of people came and told me, no, he only beat you once, so you shouldn't have left. There's worse things in marriage, but it's also just putting your foot down and saying, I've been through a lot. I'm not going to allow another person to abuse me any further, and I'm still whole, even if I'm not married. So support is important. You asked me how I've been here. It's a challenging environment. I've had to change so many things about myself. I've had to invest in myself to look professional.
I like that.
Because
investing in yourself.
Exactly. Invest in myself. Invest in my mind as well. Things that I watch, things that I feed my mind. I don't watch horror movies. I'm not judging people who do. But I don't watch things that will make me sad. I watch comedies. I read good books. I associate myself with positive people. I invest every month. I invest in something that is going to, for my image as well.
Okay.
And so that when I'm going to a restaurant to meet a male client, he's not going to think I'm there to get a date. He needs to respect me. We're on the same level.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I've had to make a lot of changes in that area so that I can be just as respected as the next man.
So the man gets respect just by being a man, but the woman has to earn respect. She has to work hard. Why is that so? What is our society doing or seeing that the woman has more obstacles on her way? Talking to you from growing up from abuse, and now you have made it, and you still have to fight to be respected.
Yeah.
What does that do for a woman? And you come into a marriage that is abusive, and society says one is not bad. Take another one. Take another one. That's how it is. What does that do for a woman? Help us into the psyche of a young woman wanting to aspire to great things. What does that do for a woman's progression?
It's damaging, and if you don't have a sober, sound mind, that's why you find people commit suicide. People, they give up on themselves. If you're not in the right frame of mind, it can be damaging to a young woman because you feel judged, and society itself judges. We are getting there, but we're not yet there. We are not seeing a lot of powerful women coming up and heading organizations. We have the vice president is a woman.
Absolutely.
So women are not seeing that it's possible, and I feel it's stories like this, it's platforms like this where you're allowing a woman to share so that another person can see that this is what I'm going through. You know, in the past, people never even used to talk about divorce. When I came out open and spoke about my divorce,
thing of shame.
yes, a lot of women came up and said, oh, I've been divorced for 2 years, but I haven't told anybody. Oh, I've been, physically abused, I never told anybody. Even when I came out about my sexual abuse, my inbox, my phone is flooded with messages.
They have been through it.
They've been through it before, but they haven't spoken about it. So,
Would you, again, it's not taking us back, what does sexual abuse, molestation, what do you think it does to a woman? A lot of women have stories of victims. It has so affected them psychologically that their growth has not been as it ought to from that time, because they can't talk about it, they can't face the perpetrator, they don't get justice, it's buried and they have to blame themselves. How does that affect, coming back to sexual abuse and molestation, how did it, or how does it affect a woman from your experience?
it affects you mentally. I mean, you feel...
When you meet men, how do you feel? What does that do?
You can't trust the man. It just feels like... I don't know how to explain it. It affects you. It affects your self-esteem, and you just feel like why me? Why did they choose me? What was it about me? So even you're constantly looking for, you believe everything. Somebody just says, I love you, because it's lacking.
So that rejection makes you want love.
Yes.
And then you accept
lies and, more lies and more abuse.
So the cycle is being repeated.
The cycle is being repeated if you don't heal from it.
So the first thing is you have to heal.
You have to heal.
Don't go looking, heal first.
Yes, heal first.
Be whole before you.
Exactly.
You wouldn't know what wholeness looks like.
Exactly.
Until you are healed.
Because then that's the only way you can identify that this is not love. It takes healing even for you to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Because if you are not talking about it, that's what I realized. I hadn't healed.
Yeah.
But when I healed, I'm able to talk about it.
Once that thing has power over you, as long as you are still ashamed.
Exactly.
In the process.
Exactly.
But when you can talk about it, it means you have power over it now.
Yes.
And then you can live your life. You are no longer a slave. So you came through that.
Yes.
And you are now empowered enough to move forward because you have gone beyond this.
And that's one of the reasons why I was able to walk away from my marriage and not care what people say, because they can talk but they don't feed me. I've got 2 children now, one from my marriage, and I'm looking after my children. So I'm at a point where I've healed, I've matured, and judgment from outside doesn't affect me anymore.
Okay.
Because you don't know what I've been.
You don't know your story.
You don't know my
You've
story.
not walked in my path.
So you can say, oh, she chose her career, she failed in her marriage, she's a failure. But I'm not a failure. So what people say, anything outside doesn't affect me anymore. Yeah, it took a lot of affirmations, it took a lot of prayer, it took a lot of positive energy.
So you have to work on yourself.
Work on myself. It might sound cliche, but to this day I was standing in the mirror and told myself, I'm beautiful. Just those affirmations, so that if somebody else tells me that I'm beautiful outside, it's not new. I know I'm beautiful.
Brilliant.
But it takes a lot of work.
You are the CEO of an organization that is meant to be mentoring and empowering women. Tell us about that. And is that organization a child of your pain? And why is this organization important to you? You and your friend co-founded it.
Yes, so me and my friend, her name is Mamsa. She's been in my life for a very long time. We've been friends for decades. So we decided to come up with this network again, because in trying to find ourselves, in trying to build ourselves, and being surrounded by women that can empower us, we've attended so many events, whatever event is there, you go and attend. And most of the time you go to this.
What were you searching for?
Searching for, mentorship, searching for women that are doing it, that are making it, and learn something from them. But then we realize the pattern was the same. You go to an event, a woman who's well established comes on the podium, they talk about their success, you go back home, you're still feeling empty. We are not really getting anything from that.
They don't tell you their story.
They don't tell us their story.
You just see the veneer.
Exactly. Sometimes you would hear a powerful woman talk about only the good part. How they travel a lot, how they're making it, how much money they've made, how many cars they have. But immediately you come out of that platform, you hear another story of that woman's marriage not working out. So then we just sat down and thought, there has to be more. We need something raw. We need to find raw people who are making it.
You mean authentic people?
Authentic people, yes. Authentic people who might not be called for these events because in people's eyes they're not making it. But they are hustling.
So shame is a big thing in a woman's life.
It is.
And we have to keep up appearances. And there's a gap between authenticity and realities. People have a persona, but the real person is suffering.
Exactly. And that's where it's actually called women, wine, money, entrepreneurship.
Why did you put wine?
Because we both love wine.
Okay. So people that don't love wine, they don't feel?
No, they do. I mean, we had a lot of people at our last event who are drinking juice. Some are drinking sparkling water. But it was something authentic for us.
You were being free. You were expressing yourself.
Yes. We
and you are saying
pretend.
Financial freedom is good for a woman.
Exactly.
Because you say women, wine,
money,
I like that.
And entrepreneurship.
So basically it's saying women, live your real life, be free, don't carry the burden, come out of the closet.
And just a platform where you can be you, networking and empowerment. We had at our face event last year, we had women, giving up money because they've heard a story. A young girl is struggling, she wants to go and start baking classes. A young girl is selling second-hand clothes, but she's got no business. She's actually at the event because somebody sponsored her. So we had other women who are already empowered saying, I'll sponsor your business. I'll give you 6,000 kwacha. Those are the kind of stories that, we should be encouraging. Just like the last event on Saturday, the same thing. We have women who are well established coming up and saying, I mentor women, so I can mentor a few women from here. So we're talking about the power of having your own money as a woman. People stay in toxic relationships, toxic jobs, especially women, because they don't have anywhere else to go. They don't know how to start.
At the Lead Africa Women's Institute, we say until a woman is financially free, she's not truly free. So that has proven correct to the organization, that financial freedom gives a woman choices and enables her and empowers her to live a full life. Let's look back now. We're coming to a close. We have about 10 minutes there to go. And we want to know what life lessons have you learned from your journey, starting from 9 months separated from your mom, into the village with your grandmom. You didn't know anything, you didn't choose anything, so you've not been choosing your life until recently, where you say, I want to live my life for myself, I want to be free, and I will live. I'm not going to listen to what people are saying, I'm going to live my life. As long as I'm living within my values, then I'm okay. What are the life lessons you learned for a woman to succeed? Because millions of women fall into this bracket. They didn't come from privilege. They've not been able to go to school abroad. They don't have people financing them. They don't even have 6 months rent. They're left with a baby. One person has a baby with this father, a baby with this father, because people will judge the woman and say she has 3 babies from 3 men. They don't say 3 men have been irresponsible, 3 men have abused, 3 men have used and light to the woman. Society blames the woman. What are the life lessons you learned that a woman watching you could take away and may not make the same mistakes?
For me, I've learned quite a number of life lessons. I think you need to start where you are. I mean, maybe to someone watching, you can think, she had 6 months rentals, so she had someone to start from. But even if I didn't have 6 months rentals, I would have found a way. I've done so many things to make money. I've had, to sell.
You didn't have 6 months rentals, you had discipline.
I had discipline.
Because somebody would have spent that money saying my father will give
Exactly.
me, not seeing tomorrow I'll need the money.
Yes.
So it wasn't 6 months rent you had discipline. Discipline was what gave you 6 months rent.
Exactly, that is correct. So again, you can start wherever you are. There are a lot of people that want to, I didn't have anybody to give me money. If somebody hears my surname, I had uncles who had good jobs. Nobody gave me a job. I had to go to everybody I knew. If I know you work for Barclays, I'm coming. Even if I didn't get the job then.
So you were very bold.
Bold and courageous, just putting myself out there. To this day, I don't like being broke. So I don't just depend on what I earn from there. I will sell second-hand clothes. If I feel I've got too many clothes, I will go at the boot camp. I could sell tomato if I wanted. I have a backyard garden. I've sold vegetables to my neighbors because I've got too much and I've got a small family. I've just got a daughter and a son. So, there's too much lettuce, there's too much bread. I'll ask my neighbors, I live in a complex, would you like vegetables? It's 5 kwacha. 5 kwacha might seem like it's useless amount to someone, but that's money that I didn't have. So working hard, I've learned you need to work hard. You need to put yourself out there. Networking as well is a key to success. It's not about a rich uncle or a rich relative. It's just about finding yourself at the right places, attending events, networking events. Like right now, I'm a Rotarian.
Okay.
So again, giving back to community. So in that Rotary family, I've met a lot of people.
Shame makes you disconnect. So it is actually swimming against the current. If you're going through shame, the first thing people do is hide.
Sure.
They don't want people to talk about them, so they're shy to mix, to network. So you are saying, go beyond that. Go out and network, socialize.
Yes.
Don't hide in your house and say, I have a child, I'm useless. Society, they're going to talk about me, I don't have money. Go out there, be courageous, network. Let people know what you can do.
Because shame is not written all over it, right? You don't even have to talk about your story. So people won't see you and say she was abused, or she's got a child and there's no father, unless when you talk about it.
So you are the one talking to yourself, not them.
Yes, not them. People don't know when they see you, they will see what you give them. Unless when you talk about it, that's when they will know. I couldn't afford brand new suits at some point. I used to go to Sarah, go to Soweto, get a few clothes and look presentable.
And nobody knows where you
Nobody knows where I got it.
Except you.
Except you.
When you talk about
Yes. If I don't talk about it, no one is going to know that what I'm wearing, somebody else wore it. So, dressing for the occasion, just making sure that I look presentable. More like you're hiding your pain, but in hiding that pain, there are people out there that you make connections, and it's those connections that will, someday they'll become useful. Yeah.
So it's what people say, fake it till you make it.
That is absolutely.
Look the part. Show
the part. Even when I came here, I was told you can only wear dark colored suits. I didn't have money to buy a brand new suit. I went to Salaula, but for the longest time, nobody knew. Until when I started sharing my story to new consultants. I used to wear second-hand clothes. But today I can walk in any shop and buy a brand new suit.
Tell me, we came into your office and I saw your vision board, and I realized you look at this every day, and you have 2 of them and the picture right on top of your table speaks a lot. How has personal development helped you? How has vision and dreams and goal setting helped you? Somebody's watching for the first time. The vision boards I see in your office, tell me about them. And how did you come about those things? And have they worked for you? Have they helped you?
Absolutely, they have. That is part of what has helped shape my life and my thinking. Just visualizing something. Visualizing has worked for me because you allow your mind to experience something that hasn't even happened. Take pictures. If you came to my house today, you see my wardrobe. Every year, beginning of the year, I'll take pictures of vacation, holidays, a new shoe that I want, a new fridge, everything that I have visualized it. So that has worked for me because again, it's feeding my mind positive energy, positive mind, positive vision. I've had to visualize a number of things, even to be where I am. I visualized to be here. When I just joined, I started asking questions. How do I excel in this organization? And I was told you need to do ABC. If you meet these targets, you become a team leader. After a team leader, you become an area. So the success path was already shared.
It was paved for you.
It was paved.
So you paid the price to take.
Exactly. So visualizing has worked.
So you didn't see yourself here, you kept projecting yourself.
I kept projecting myself and, seeing myself out there. Here we deal with high net worth individuals. But that didn't stop me from speaking to other women who can't afford to say, look, you can start saving, start where you are. And because of that, somebody was listening. I got awarded by the Bank of Zambia governor, Financial Literacy Award 2 years in a row because I use my social media productively. I created a group for women. Let's share tips on how to save. Instead of going to buy at this place, go and buy at this place, they have a sale. This is what you can do. If you are a woman, you had a kitchen party, you have 2 microwaves, sell one. Just giving back to, society. And somebody somewhere was listening, and one day I got a call to say, you've been nominated to receive an award by the Bank of Zambia governor. And so, okay, somebody's listening.
Wonderful.
So visualizing, it really has helped me a lot.
And where did you get the idea of visualization from? Which basically, to most people, that's basically faith. Because God says, what you see I will give to you. As a person thinks in their mind, so they are. So there's everything in the scriptures that talk. So you are just practicing faith, faith in action. But tell us, how did you come about it and what do you do? Just describe it for somebody watching to learn.
I learned a lot from books,
a few books you read?
A few books I read, a few TV shows that I watched. Remember I said I don't...
Give me examples.
So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've read The Richest Man in Babylon. Those are some of my favorites.
Those are beautiful books, very beautiful books.
Those are some of my books. And you see, what I realized is in all these books, I've read The Secret as well. In all these books, the message is the same. They just change.
The principles are the same.
The principles are the same. They just change how the words are written. But it's the same. And then I go to a very good church as well, Miracle Life. My pastor always, emphasized about, staying positive, keep the right people. And then when I joined this organization as well, it has that culture of write down your goals at the beginning of the year. Write down your goals and create a vision board.
So with this, a woman's life is basically what she makes it.
That is correct.
And your story has told us that your greatest strength is your mental strength.
That is correct.
Your mind, the investments you make in your mind, the pictures you see in your mind become your future.
Right. Because once you worked on your mind, there's really nothing. Once you work on your mind and your inside, what happens outside can't destroy you.
Where is Maureen going from here? Where do you see yourself going as a leader, as a female leader?
I see myself, I'm at the stage where I now want to start sitting on boards. I I want to sit on different boards. I want to be the regional director for the year.
Brilliant.
Yes, I see so much more that's going to come out of modeling.
And if you are going to bring a woman to where you are so you can take that leader position, you said when you come here, the company helps you to set goals. What should that woman do to take your job so you can go to a higher job? What's the roadmap to taking your job?
Good work ethics is one of them, good work ethics. Come to work early. We report for work at 7:30, not 7:31. If you're not sick, don't lie that you're sick. You're only going to take Mother's Day when you need Mother's Day. Just because the labor law requires you to be on Mother's Day every month doesn't mean you should take it, because when you're on Mother's Day, a man somewhere is working.
Somebody's taking your job.
Someone is taking your job. Because remember, as a woman also, there'll be things that you can't avoid, like getting pregnant, you need to be on leave. So getting married, you need to be on leave. So before those things happen, make sure that you're giving your job your all, because they will happen as a woman.
So make yourself necessary.
Make yourself
and indispensable
and relevant. Yeah.
So that if you are not there, they can't do without you. They will wait for you.
They will wait for you.
Okay.
If I don't come to work today, everybody's going to know that something is wrong. Not where if I don't come for work, it's not me. Yeah, so somebody just need to have good work ethics, work hard, be confident, and just know that you can do whatever a man can do as well.
Did you face, this is our final, did you face those barriers where you just said that, know that you can do it, what a man can do? Do you ever carry in your mind, I'm a woman, so a man can do more than me, and I have to try and be a man? Or are you just confident that as a woman there's no limit to what you desire you can become?
At this point where I've reached, I'm confident that I don't have to be a man to do what I'm doing. But before I got to where I am today, there was a lot of, pressure and, even from my peers, even from women, because you're not a man, they're not going to respect you as much. But at that point, yes, at some point I've had to earn my respect. I've had for people to see that she's doing the job that she's supposed to do. But where I am today, I have no doubt that I don't need to be a man to be where I am. I just need the confidence. We're given the same tools, the same numbers of, hours in a day. So
it's performance.
It's performance, yes. It's performance. I can perform, he can perform. We are equal. But when you're just starting out, it becomes challenging because the men won't respect you, the women won't respect you. So at some point you do have to work hard to prove yourself. You have to work harder than a man to prove yourself.
We want to thank you, Maureen, because your story has been most unusual, but in it being unusual, it is the normal for so many millions of women that have gone before you and that will come, and we hope that you will reduce the numbers. Your courage to talk about it. I know we've talked about it on a very simplistic surface level, and you have been, maybe because you have healed, so that you didn't go probably as deep as probably we would want you to go, but when you're office, so maybe you have to be professional. So we hope to get you in a social space.
Sure.
But you have shown us that from an early age, you had to fight for yourself. You told yourself, it's up to me now. I don't want to go back to the village. I don't want this type of life. And you have to fight your way to where you are. You've not gotten any handouts. Nobody has reached out and gave you anything free. But your discipline, I think one thing I take away from you is the mental discipline. The discipline that tells you, because of what has happened to me, does not determine who I will be. It's what happens in me, not to me, that matters. And that speaks a lot. And I pray that every woman watching, what you've done today is eliminate every woman's excuse. Because you are saying you don't have an excuse. It happened to me. If I can do it with nobody helping me, if you want, you can do it. So we really thank you for having climbed this ladder. You started from the lowest rung, and now you're midway. I won't say you're on top because your last success is the enemy of your next one. So you're midway, you're ready to go to the next level, regionally, you have told us. And we hope that on your journey you will keep mentoring and carrying women along. I want to wish you all the best for your organization, Women, Wine, Money and Entrepreneurship, because you're mentoring other women and you're creating space for women. I hope that you will reach your full potential. And we're looking forward to you, as we discussed, to come pass the baton to another generation, to show them that if I can do it, you can do it. This is how I did it, and therefore you can do it. We look forward to talking to you again, and we thank you for coming on Scars the Stars. Would you have something, last word you want to say before we leave to the viewer that has been watching us for the last 1 hour?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for the opportunity. I've had a great time.
Thank you.
And all I can just say, as my last word, is to the woman watching, own your story. Don't be ashamed of your story. Like I said at the beginning, I used to be ashamed of my story. I used to sugarcoat it. But I realized that there's power in our stories. When you're telling a story, you don't know what the next child, your child, has gone through. So wherever you are at that point, know that somebody else has been there. And it's not an excuse for you to stay stagnant because you've been abused or because you haven't been given an opportunity, because you're broke, because you're not financially independent. It's not the end. There is more that you can be. And your past doesn't have to determine your future.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Well, viewers, we want to thank you for having joined us today. Like we said yesterday, it will be a story of another achieving woman, another woman that has been through everything to get to where she has. Maureen is such a story. Maureen has shown us that there is nothing standing between you and success except yourself and the way you think about yourself. She said she overcame her fear, and then she overcame the world, because now she can be anything she wants to be. Her industry, her hard work, her resilience, her faith in God. She says she will not be who she is without God. But she has found herself because she envisions herself. And every day she looks at herself, setting goals, and she goes out to make it happen. We have had that privilege of sharing this with you, and we look forward to sharing with you again tomorrow. Another woman sharing her scars and how those scars have become stepping stones to becoming a star in life. Zambian women are doing great things. Join us to celebrate another one tomorrow, as we have celebrated Maureen today. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Scars the Stars. God bless you. Thank you for joining us tonight. See you tomorrow.